All right, let's get you back into court now for more testimony from the victim's sister, Christina Parcell.
And she called me to let me know I was at work. She called me and I asked her if she wanted to go, and she said yes. And I asked her if she wanted me to go with her, and she said yes. So I bought 2 round-trip tickets that day.
And did y'all ultimately go to Italy for a hearing? We
flew out of Atlanta on Wednesday, March 10th. We arrived in Venice, Italy at the Marco Polo Airport. The things that stick with you. We arrived around noon that Thursday. Court was the morning of Friday. We flew back to the States that Sunday.
And were you successful in getting your niece back?
We were nothing at getting my niece back. There was no decision reached in that trip in March. They said they would deliberate and they would reach out with more information.
Now, when you were there, did you get to see your niece?
Did I lay eyes on her? Yes.
Did you get to speak with her?
And again, this is just based on what happened, not I know the rules of Italy. But when we were there, they said the mother has to go in, the father has to go in, and the minor child cannot go in. He brought her to court, and she was not allowed to go in the courtroom, and she had to stay outside of the courtroom. I couldn't go in because I wasn't a party. She was now an unattended minor in a foreign country, which is, again, not great. And they asked if I would watch her. His attorneys asked that I not speak with her. That wasn't a court order. It was just, hey, can you sit here and watch her and not say anything?
And was John Mello there as well?
Yes, he's the one that brought my niece into court for that hearing.
So did y'all ever return back to Italy again?
My sister returned to Italy. So this was in March of 2021. She, again, received notice from the State Department it felt like forever, of course, but a few weeks later, either end of March, beginning of April, there's another hearing. Again, you can attend virtually or in person. She said, I want to go in person. I asked if she wanted me to go again, and she said, no, I'll go by myself.
And so did she fly to Italy?
She did fly to Italy, give or take tax day.
And was she successful in getting the return of your niece?
At first, there was no decision reached, and they said you can leave and come back when we decide. She opted to stay, and a few days later, I can check my records for actual dates. A few days later, they let her know that they had decided to repatriate. Italy repatriated my niece to my sister, John Mello, and my niece. Replacement passport for my niece because hers had expired when they were in Italy.
While Christina was over there, did she have to hire bodyguards?
We had 2 bodyguards. When we were there, we weren't allowed to, because again, COVID, we weren't allowed to take public transportation. We weren't allowed to sit down in restaurants. So we did have 2 people that were hired to both provide some protection for that day in court, but also to get us from point A to point B while we were in court. And she had the same staff were hired when she went back.
So what day did Christina and your niece return?
April 22nd of 2021.
So when they returned, to what residence did they initially go?
They started living with me full-time in the apartment that we discussed. The lease on that apartment was up in the middle of May, so I'd already started making arrangements to, live somewhere rather than renew the lease on the apartment.
And so did you eventually secure another location?
I had made an offer to buy the Canebrake home December 17th of 2020. I'd already been trying to buy that house for 4 months.
And did y'all eventually move into 122 Canebrake?
We moved into 122 Canebrake on May 14th of 2021.
So when once y'all moved in, you and who all lived there?
I was in the master bedroom, a nice tan with wood trim and a bay window. My sister was across the hall in a not great yellow bedroom. My niece was down the hall from her in what came as a hot pink bedroom. And she was thrilled about that. So it was the three of us. I had chosen this home. It was large enough. There was an ensuite. You saw it in the walkthrough. The salmon colored in the back had its own full bathroom, and that was going to be where my parents could live if they needed to in the future. So it was the three of us.
So you talked about this custody dispute, let's call it before John Mello and your niece went to Italy.
Yes.
And now we're past that. During this time frame up until May of 2020, how would you describe the dispute, this custody dispute between Christina and John?
It was active until the moment she died. There were still hearings while he was in Italy. He did not return to the United States for the, I guess it was 5 months, 3 weeks that they were here, almost 6 months. He would attempt to retain counsel, or did retain counsel, though it attend a hearing on his behalf. There was a hearing with regards to when could phone calls happen.
Did y'all ever fear for your safety or anybody, or your niece's safety, or your safety?
We wouldn't let her play outside by herself. It is a beautiful neighborhood, an exceedingly safe neighborhood. I mean, kids everywhere. So it's not that the neighborhood wasn't safe. We just didn't want her to be playing by herself. We didn't want her to get taken. The front window, part of why we always left it open was so we could see the front yard if she was out there.
Did John Mello ever do anything that made y'all feel unsafe?
Can you be more specific with your question with regards to place and time?
Around that time.
Around that time, I can't say if it was John Mello or not. I know that my employer received an anonymous packet full of John Mello and my sister's family court documents, and I know my sister didn't send it.